Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast.
Are you loyal to lack? Well, if you're listening to the podcast, yes, you are. You've got an area where you are either self-sabotaging or you are stuck in your shadow self. They're actually a difference. You self-sabotage by allowing a younger version of you to be triggered, the one that was wounded, the one that was betrayed, the one that was traumatized, and they're triggered, and then they show up and they try to cope in an adult world. Well, they couldn't do it the first time, much less now. And so they're operating from an immature mindset, and that causes self-sabotage, because what's a kid going to do when they get overwhelmed? They're going to reach out for something that they can have control over. It might be food. It might be endless playing games on social media. Whatever it is, that is self-sabotage. Now, we also have where we will hold ourselves back with what's known as the shadow. And the shadow is all the parts of you that were absolutely brilliant, but for whatever reason, someone in your environment couldn't handle it. And so you had to dim yourself, you had to dumb yourself down and pack that part of you away. And so now it's hanging out in the shadows, just waiting to be reactivated, but in a way that's going to be healthy and functional. Okay. So are you loyal to lack? Instead of saying loyal, I'm going to say you're attached. You're attached to lack. There's something known as attachment styles. We all want to be secure, but we will typically be one or the other, which is known as avoidance or anxious. Avoidance is where you hit a challenge and you're like, you know what? I don't need anybody's help. I got this problem all on my own. I'm just gonna do it. I'm taking my ball and my bat and I'm going home. So whenever things get challenging, we will isolate. We will pull away. By the way, yes, this happens to be mine. Then we have anxious attachment. And by the way, I'm just giving you the very bare minimum so you can understand why you do some of the things that you do. So if you are the avoidance, you probably have packed away more of your brilliance than what you realize, because you got to avoid it. People aren't comfortable with it. Now, if you're anxious, you will chase things. You will want to talk the situation over and over and over until, that they talk about beating a dead horse, and you will chase people and you will chase things. And this is going to come from the immature self-sabotage that's going, no, I have to go over again and again and again. I've got to pass this test. I've got to study harder. Okay. And then there's one that's known as disorganized, that's both. I'm not even going to go there because it is so actually rare that they don't know a whole lot about it. So you're going to find that you're more avoidance or you're more anxious, and that you're attached to that. So what do we have to do? Well, we actually need to discover what's brilliant about you. What do you value that is harmonious with the goal that you want to experience? And I'm going to use myself as an example. So I'm looking for love, but not in all the wrong places. I am looking for someone that has done their own work. That's important, because they say time heals all wounds. No, it doesn't. doing the work. I went out on a date with somebody that said that they had been divorced for a number of years, a little less than 10. And for over half of that, they didn't even date. They didn't want to go back out into it. And now they're dating. And because time heals all wounds. And I'm like, no, doing the work heals all wounds. And since you just spent over half of our date talking about your ex that you divorced a decade ago, that's showing me that you haven't done any work. Did I say that? No, because I'm not their coach, their mentor. I'm looking at them for a partner. So I will have people go out on a date with me and go, "Are you diagnosing me?" I'm like, "Are you paying me to diagnose you?" No, I'm, I'm here to enjoy myself, not to be your hypnotherapist. Okay, so going back to the attachment style, I value love. Well, there was somebody in my life that was having some real challenges. And they were so overwhelming. Not only were they overwhelming that person, they were overwhelming me too. And so they'd have the challenge and I'd leave. Okay. Excuse me if I said anxious, I meant avoidance, attachment style, avoidance. I'd avoid it. I moved away from them. I didn't want to have to deal with it. And then I finally said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I need to stand in the love that I have for them. That's my power. So they brought the problem. And I said, you know what? I know one of my gifts is being able to stand for someone until they can stand for themselves, as long as they're doing their work. I'm not going to stand in for them, but I will stand for them, just like I'm standing for you. I will stand for you while you do the work. I will be the support. So that's what I kept telling them. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here and I'm standing for you until they got that message. Okay, now, if I were an anxious attachment style, I might try to jump in with all of these solutions and all of these things that they can do. And oh my gosh, have you tried this? And what about that? And the number one fear is the fear of being wrong, which means that the person you're giving the unsolicited advice to, did they really ask you for assistance? And if they did they really mean it? You're making them feel wrong. So now they're going to dig their heels in and do everything they can to prove that they're right and prove why they should be stuck. So even if you were anxious, you could be going, you know what? I love you. And I'm standing right here. See how that works either way? But you need to know what you value, what is unique about you, what's brilliant about you. You have something known as your RAS, your reticular activating system, and it's going to look for four things. The first thing it looks for, it scans your environment all the time. The first thing that it looks for is pain, and it wants to get away from it. And then there's threat. And threat is what will shut it down. So we have to allow the RAS to know that it is stable and can maintain that stability in those two places. By the way, if you want to know more about that, make sure that you listen to the recording, the first one for this month of November, where I talk more about the stability and the emotional regulation. So it has to know that it can be stable and it can maintain that stability. But then after that, it's going, I want to accelerate. I want to amplify. I want to make larger than life our results. And it does that with the next two areas. What do you value? And what is unique and brilliant about you? But the RAS can't even get to those two until we handle the pain and the threat that it feels like it's in. Okay. So to be able to do that, you have to say, okay, I'm going to move myself into situations and give myself an immersion experience. The very thing that I don't want to do is the very thing that I need to move into in a way where it is a mitigated risk. It's a healthy risk, because You either have pain today or you will pay later. There is always a price to be paid, always. So you're either going to pay that price now by learning to regulate who you are instead of being loyal to lack, instead of being familiar and attached to either what's anxious or what's avoidance. You say, I need to be secure. I need to say, if it is up to be, it is up to me. And I'm going to find a way to make this happen. This is the reason why I love hypnosis, because we're actually able to address both aspects of you. The part of you that holds the wound, that holds the betrayal, that's the younger you that's frozen in time and keeps trying to act out in an adult world. Well, it couldn't handle it the first time. It sure isn't going to handle it now. So we need to give it a new focus, a focus of joy and laughter and being able to be fulfilled in life, playfulness. And then we also need to bring out of the shadows what you've been hiding that is actually now ready to show up, but we want to give it the directions to do it in a healthy, functional way that moves you forward into success. This is the reason why I love hypnosis. It's known as parts therapy for inner conflict resolution. It's one of the things I specialize in, bringing all aspects of your personality together to be whole. If you want assistance with that, go to dawnlandrum.com, where you can get a free hypnosis audio download that will at least get you some relief right now. It won't get you resolution, but it'll get you some relief. And you can also sign up for a complimentary coaching call, because if you want to work with me, this is the month to do it, because I have a very special birthday bonus. It's my birthday month. And there's something I'm honoring you with that is going to help you get into your goals faster, quicker, and easier. I am not going to advertise it. You've got to reach out and find out about it. Why is that? Because I want to reward you for the action that you're taking. That's why, because the subconscious only repeats what is reinforced and what is rewarded. Here's what's interesting: that reinforcement and that reward can be dysfunctional just as well as healthy. So dawnlandrum.com, or you can also go to canhypnosishelpyou.com and sign up for a complimentary coaching call there. So as we wrap up, if you're going to continue to be loyal to lack, if you're going to be attached in a way that's anxious, well, use that energy to lift you up to greater heights. If you're going to be attached to avoidance, then you need to be avoiding everything that's dysfunctional. Actually use your attachment style in a way that's going to benefit you, instead of a way that will continue to cause you pain and threat. So until we get together again, blessings on your journey.